Wasn't it just last week people were worried Steph was going to ask out? He was getting traded to the Lakers? Well, turns out Steph looks like he's in it for the long haul. Like I think most of us knew, at least in the back of our heads or in our hearts, right? Signs a $62 million extension through the 26-27 season. Heck, it would have probably been even longer if it weren't for that new over 38 rule that I guess applies to this new CBA. And it will make Steph, I guess, technically the highest paid player in the league. By the time it gets to that contract, he won't be, right? We know how that goes. You know, it quickly changes. It rapidly moves. But yeah, man, I guess my question to y'all is, does this represent that Steph has a lot of faith in Joe Lacob and Mike Dunleavy to build a contender around him these next few years? Or is it more representative of his loyalty to the organization? It's probably both, right? Like most things in life, it's a bit of both. And again, there was a big fuss about whiffing on Markkanen. I don't even want to use that term whiff because I don't think that's what it was. You know, that it didn't happen. And then the buildup of young Brandin Podziemski also has people kind of in their feelings, right? And saying, oh, well, we think he's the future of this organization. What was it a couple of days ago? He said, hey, they're giving me the green light. They want me to take 8, 9, 10 of these threes a game. And I had retweeted that, like, I've been on this. If you follow the channel and particularly the patron content, since day one, I was like, yo, I think he needs to shoot more threes. Like, he's a shooter. If you go back and look at the Santa Clara tape and his percentages in his basketball career, it's tough to take one here and one there. And I know people were like, yeah, he's good off the bounce, but he's got to get better on his catch and shoot. And I've always gone back to Draymond with this. Now, very different players, even though Pods will tell you they're the same, right? He's mini Draymond. But, you know, I think when I watched Pods in his rookie year, a lot of the time when he caught the ball on the weak side or there was a shot, he wasn't even looking at the rim. He was looking for like a handoff or like the action of the offense, because as brash as he is, as confident and, you know, borderline cocky as he is, I think he also understood I am a rookie and he wanted to fit in. Does Clay need the shot? Is Draymond on the floor? All this stuff, right? And so I think giving him this green light, which I think is a smart idea moving forward, he's going to shoot well. He is going to shoot well. But it's also kind of an interesting case study here in developing a player and nurturing a player, because it kind of feels like the Warriors are trying to manifest Pods into becoming a lead guard, a star player, right? And why not, right? Gen Z, this is what all you hear about. It's all about the vibes. It's all about positivity. And so they're being extremely positive. Why shouldn't they be? And look, he ran the system at Santa Clara. I said it last week. If you're Brandin Podziemski, you don't make it to the NBA without crazy work ethic and a crazy high basketball IQ. He doesn't have all these physical gifts where he's just going to get this opportunity. So you already know he's checking those boxes. But you knew he could play in the system at Santa Clara. Now he shadowed Steph Curry, right? And he's picking up all his little secret sauce of work ethic and things he does in the gym. And then you're telling him, hey, man, you're the future. You're giving you this opportunity. And why can't he overachieve? And I get it. That, like, generally, like, at first thought, people were like, whoa, like, because that's my thing. When someone was like, hey, what's Pod's ceiling? What, you know, how good is he? I'd be like, well, I think he could be a really good third guard, right? Kind of like a 6-man, a third guard. And that would be like probably most people's first thought of like his ceiling. But I was watching the few summer league games and watching him work on that mid-range game. And I got to thinking, like, if Jalen Brunson has become a lead franchise guard player, right? What's stopping Brandin Podziemski from doing the same thing, given the right environment in development, right? Because if there's one knock, well, I won't say one, people have a lot of complaints, but the biggest knock against the organization in this dynasty, in this decade of winning, has been they can't develop young players. And so it's true when you look at it, but there's also the context of trying to win each year in a complicated system, Kerr liking vet. There's all these variables to it. But I think that they've also learned from their mistakes. They've learned from James Wiseman. They've learned from Jordan Poole, right? And that goes for Steph, Draymond, everyone that trying to deal with it. And it would be kind of ironic at this point if all of a sudden they develop a kid who was never even supposed to be drafted into this star player. And it's like, oh, development? What are you talking about? But yeah, those are my thoughts. I'm excited for Pods. I believe in his shot. And look, I get it. It's a fine line. You don't want someone chucking away, but he needs to take the open ones. And it needs to be plan A, right? Because a lot of the time in his rookie season, I think it was plan B. And it makes sense when you're a young player trying to fit in. But now that it's plan A, I expect him to shoot the three ball very well and have a big year. Back to Steph, though, in this contract. It looks like, he's going to rock out till the end here. He'll be about 40 at the end of this contract now with the extension. And my guy, Ricky P., a patron, he had messaged me and was just basically expressing like he doesn't like the Steph disrespect, right? And it's such a thing on Warriors Twitter and NBA Twitter. And I've had that message, that sentiment, sent to me so many times over the years. And what was dug up again? It was the Steph Kyrie argument, right? Somehow that got dug up again. I think it was Swaggy P or somebody was saying, right? And if you notice, usually the people that are discrediting Steph or discounting what he's accomplished, it's odd because it's his peers, it's the other players, whether they're former players or current players. And I think a big part of it is these guys, they look at Kyrie and they're like, dude, I can't do that. Like, I'll go in the gym right now. I can't move like that. I can't do that. Right. And so that they're in awe of that. Where with Steph, I think they try to almost write it off to like, I could do that. I think they're lying to themselves. Like, if I was given that opportunity, if they let me pull up from 30, I could do that. Right. Because we've all experienced this. You're playing pickup, you're hooping somewhere, right? And you cook somebody. And then after they go, oh, you got hot, right? You whatever, you got hot. And it's so easy to write it off and make an excuse of, oh, you got hot, anybody gets hot. And I think that a lot of the time that's what some of these players do. They're like, well, Steph just gets hot a lot. He has the green light from half court and he gets hot and I could do that in those circumstances. And we all know they're lying to themselves, right? Where with Kyrie, they're like, dude, I can't even move like that. It's different. And Kyrie physically is maybe more unique in the way he moves and stuff like that. So that's my take on it. But what I would say to Dub Nation and Ricky P and these guys is don't get oversensitive about it. It's a joke. It's like what's understood doesn't have to be explained. And so, to me, it doesn't bother me as much as I think the rest of Dub Nation. But overall, yeah, great news, right? And we'll see. We'll see, because as loyal as y'all know Steph to be, if he had lost faith in this organization building a contender around him, I don't see a need to sign this now for him, right? Now, maybe you could accuse Steph of being have blind faith, and you never know what's going to happen. But I think it's a good sign for all parties involved, especially the fan base. What else? Underdog Fantasy. Right now, use the code Alchemy, get a 50% bonus on your first deposit up to $1,000. Link is in the description. NFL, we're like a week away, right? You see Dion and his son who, listen, their defense is not going to allow them to be in the conversation this year as far as, playoffs and all that. But it's a fun watch. WNBA tonight, big one. Fever versus the Sky. Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark. I'll give you my picks. They're easy ones. I'm going CC, higher points and assists. I am a little concerned that they're going to, because of the narrative and optics, they're going to, they're always going to be physical with her. But I like that. And then the easy one for Angel is that double-double. Those are my picks. But again, we're going to have a lot of stuff to play moving forward with NFL starting, WNBA playoffs, and then When's training camp? The beginning of October. So Underdog Fantasy, support the channel as always. You can click the link in the description. There was a little bit of other news here. Bruno Caboclo, who played for Team Brazil, gave us 30. He gave Embiid 30 in the Olympics. Y'all may remember him from being 2 years away He was drafted by the Toronto Raptors in 2014. Played everywhere. He's played everywhere. 10 different teams overseas. He's 28 years old now. And he's one of those guys where he has these crazy physical attributes and this talent that he's just going to get opportunity after opportunity, right? 7'7" wingspan. For my patron, I'll be releasing it with this video. I did a breakdown, just watching his Olympic tape and just overall kind of looking at a profile of who he is and where he's at, how I think he would fit with the Warriors roster. And then I'm wrapping it up and I look that he signed with Tel Aviv or, some EuroLeague team. And maybe there's a buyout clause in it. And so, because the report was he was working out with the Warriors this week, and perhaps he's going to take that roster spot, a big athletic big who can score the ball. You don't hear that around the Warriors facility often, right? But yeah, that's a bit disappointing. It seems as though he almost used the Warriors as leverage to get this contract with Tel Aviv. I'm probably butchering the name of these foreign teams. I think it's EuroLeague 1, though. It's a big squad, right? And so that's a bit disappointing. But I think we should still keep him on the radar. If we've brought him into the facility and he's been working out with them, that those contracts can get bought out. And, maybe not now, but he could be a future roster ad. I'm sure he caught Kerr's eye, lighting us up like that. So patrons, look for that video to drop today as well. That's all I got for y'all. As always, hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.